Welcome to episode 64 of the Travel Calumet Original Podcast. I'm your host, Rick Sentz, and today's guests are Ben and Sharon Henke, the owners of the new tourist startup destination, Our Little Farm, located on 5 acres just outside of New Holstein. Our Little Farm specializes in growing ancient Einkorn wheat along with other fruits and vegetables. Additionally, Ben and Sharon are in the process of building a commercial kitchen and a farm store at their location with a tentative completion date of spring 2026. The kitchen is going to specialize on products sourced from Einkorn Wheat. So Ben and Sharon, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Rick. Thank you very much for having the both of us. We are excited to be here.
Well, I'm glad.
Good morning and thank you.
Yeah, great. Okay. Well, I've been looking forward to this taping of this podcast for a while now because it is not often that listeners have the opportunity to hear about a tourism attraction in Calumet County before its official grand opening. So what is the origin story of Our Little Farm?
Well, we've found in recent years that there's been a void in the area of nutrient-dense fruits and vegetables without pesticides and chemicals, and also baked goods with clean and simple ingredients. And we just got to thinking there's got to be like-minded people in the area. We've always had a garden. Sharon has always baked, quality ingredients. And in the last 15 years, we've grown cereal, rye, and wheat on our regenerative land. So when you hear about our little farm, we're not just talking about me and Sharon. It's talking about everyone that stops at our farm and purchases a loaf of bread or picks up a butternut squash, and it's their farm as well.
Walk me through the aha moment that, we're gonna create a business around this, and we're gonna bring this to market, and we're gonna see what we can do with it. Was there anything that lightning strike that you had that Sharon? Maybe you can fill us in on that one.
Sure. So we had bought our property like 17 years ago, and about 15 years ago, we decided it would be the perfect location for a farmer's market, something that we've always kind of toiled with in the back of our mind. So we actually went to Madison and took a 3-day course on market farming. And so then we did that, and that was our moment of like, okay, someday, eventually, we're going to get there. So life took us on a different path for many years, and we got to the point where it's like, okay, you just go to the store and we just want, it's like a food desert in this area as far as good quality, low chemical, no pesticides, even the baked goods. You couldn't go in there and buy a cookie without feeling horrible what you're doing to your body. And so at that point, that's when we realized there's got to be other people other than Ben and Sharon in New Holstein that want this. And so that's when we started to put feelers out there, and then we just started doing farmers markets with our baked goods. At that time, freeze drying was legal, so we were bringing our produce that we didn't use through freeze dry to the markets, and that was a huge hit. And then people just started encouraging us to do the farm store and to continue on this path. And so that's when we kind of put our other business on the back burner and put our focus on this.
So you used to freeze dry, and then what happened to cause that change? There's a state law change or something?
Yes, so it was a rule. We were under the cottage law rule, and they allowed it. Well, then DATCAP got a hold of that, and they said no. And so it went through the courts, and the judge said, okay, you can still freeze dry while it goes through litigation. And then DATCAP came back and said no, we want a cease and whatever that's
cease
called.
And desist order?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
So then everybody had to stop. So
Okay.
it was legal for about 5 months, and it was great. People really enjoyed that opportunity and that choice to have a good quality snack. I mean, what I was doing, and other, people like me, we just took an apple and we freeze dried it and gave that as an option for a snack versus somebody buying a different product, maybe with sugar in it or, additives in it. This was just the fruit. But unfortunately, like I said, it's now illegal, and that's another reason why we're doing the commercial kitchen, so we can sell that again, because that we got such a huge positive response, and that the items that you can do freeze-dried are limitless. I've been experimenting. We do this pickled beets. It's like a chip, and we got great reviews on that. So that's what actually kind of spurred us to go with the kitchen as well as the bakery, because I think the bakery part of it, I can do more. I can reach more people if I can sell it through the mail or in the stores versus just person to person like what I can do now through the cottage law.
So the new rule changes, and instead of saying, okay, pack up your bags, let's stop doing this, you took it just the opposite and said, well, okay, what can we do? How do we expand beyond this then, correct? Is that a fair way of saying that?
Yes, exactly. We contacted that cap and started the process. Okay, how can we do this? Because we couldn't stop. Once you have the flavors, it has you hooked. So then that included a set of plans, and then also an approval of the equipment you're going to use. And then we just said, hey, let's go forward from here.
So they've been a partner in the process then since the ruling came out and you made the decision to move forward then with the kitchen, correct?
It was a couple years.
Oh, okay.
That we stopped because that it became illegal in, 2024, I think. And so then, we basically kind of came up with, okay, what do we do? How do we direct this business? It was, some good conversations that we had to say, okay, this is something that we can afford to do with taking our, what we have available to us, and can we afford to do that next step? And then it became to a point of like, you just feel as though people need to have this choice. And so we just put caution to the wind, and it'll all work out. And, we have our plans. We've got our business plan, and we're pretty confident that it's going to work.
So you put caution to the wind, but you were very planful in
yes,
doing that,
exactly,
correct?
exactly.
Okay.
Because there are safer ways to live out your years than to start a business at our age. We could have taken the safe route and just continued with the farmers market, but we just felt compelled that other people should have that choice of what we provide. It's not out there, not out there like it should be. And if we have to be, one of the first, that's fantastic. But
that's where business often finds its niche, is when it's first. So that's great. So the type of wheat you're going to be using, I find this very interesting. I kind of am a soil nerd, not to the point that Ben and Sharon are, but I've had some interesting conversations with Connor Freemuth comes to mind here in Calumet County about just what he all does to help enable soil to become even more nutrient than it is. And I find it fascinating. It's a fascinating science. So can you walk listeners through, with the wheat that you're using, why is soil nutrition and soil health so important to that?
It starts really with the seed itself. Einkorn is a hulled wheat, and in order to plant it, we have to keep the hull on it. You can plant it dehulled, but then your germination rate goes way down, becomes much lower. We've tried 3 different methods for planting. The other challenge with Einkorn is the hull, and then there's beards on the seed as well. So that presents a challenge, just getting it through the planting equipment. The other differences in the soil. To grow this wheat, because it's an ancient wheat, your soil has to be clean. And I guess what I mean by that is it really doesn't like our modern pesticides or chemicals. So we're really growing this with a regenerative system. So soil health becomes much more important. We do things like composting, also organic matter. The soil biology with cover crops becomes much more important. It's been a huge learning curve with growing this with this kind of wheat.
You mentioned cover crops. Do you have, what kind, are you using other grasses as well, or what exactly are you using for cover crop with it?
Yes, that's a good question. And there's no one magic bullet that we found to use so far. We've been trying a lot of things. Basically what we're trying to do is get the microbes active for as much of the year as we can. We'll plant things such as legume crops like buckwheat, red clover, alfalfa, small grains, rye, triticale, black oats, tillage radish are just a few that come to mind. I know there's probably about 10 other things that I'm forgetting. But by having that soil or plant diversity, you also create soil diversity with your microbes. And that in turn helps out your cash crop that you're trying to produce.
Are you no-till?
I would say no. In the regenerative system, it's kind of a broad range term because it allows for all of it. And the key is learning what works in your system. Now, we did do no-till with this crop the very first year that we did it. And that didn't work. We found out very quickly that it didn't work. So then the next year we did a light tillage with cover crops and then planted it in the fall like a winter wheat, and that worked. We had success. Our first year that we had combined a successful crop. So that was encouraging. Then the next year, which was last year, we got a little bit more aggressive with the tillage, and it's one of those things where you don't know what you don't know. Now, we did have a successful crop this year, but one thing we found is our weed pressures just exploded. So now we're returning back to more intensive cover crops. We're going to cut way back down on the tillage. So no-till is a goal of ours, but we're trying to find how we get there, okay, with this crop.
And when you say ancient, can you give listeners an idea of what the word ancient means to you? How many are we talking? 50 years, 100 years?
So they're saying that ancient wheat, that Einkorn is the first wheat. There's other cousins that people might have heard of, like Spelt, Emmer, Kamut. Those are cousins to Einkorn, but they're saying that ancient is actually the first wheat.
So we're talking like forever.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, interesting.
Right,
okay. Yeah. So what type of products are you going to be creating with the ancient Einkorn seed then?
So a lot of baked goods, and also we're going to be, selling like the flour, the sprouted. So let me back up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get the grain in, I sprout it, dehydrate it, and then we have access to a stone mill. So then we fresh stone mill of flour every about 3 weeks. So with that, sourdough I'm kind of the one that likes to bake nutritionally. And so if I can get the most bang out of my buck out of any baked goods, I'm going to. So a lot of my baked goods have sourdough. So I use that as like the base. And then I'll add more the wheat flour to it, but I do crackers and sourdough bread. I've got like 3 varieties of crackers, 2 varieties of bread, cookies. I experiment with the cookie dough. Right now I have a peach or a rhubarb cookie that people just love. And then I do English muffins and pizza crust. I do banana muffins. Basically anything and everything I can possibly think of or that I got a craving for. I do a fig bar. I love figs. So I found a recipe that incorporates figs. So if I like it, I'm going to put it there on the menu. If I want to experiment with it, I'm going to put it out there on the menu. So, and then we're also I love cream of wheat. So Ben was able to find a setting on the stone mill to do our own Einkorn wheat, cream of wheat.
Okay.
So that is just delicious. So we continue to expand our menu, but that's like the basis of it. It's just a good variety of people that don't like the sweets or that do. The crackers really are one of our best sellers.
So when you're experimenting, I envision somebody with a white lab coat on with test tubes. But are you like, how would that be done? Can you walk listeners through what process you go when you experiment?
Sure. It usually involves a scale because I have to measure if I need to add something more or less of something. So like nutritional yeast, for example. I love nutritional yeast on popcorn. And I thought, well, that'd be a good flavor to add into a cracker. It's like a nice cheesy flavor. And so I started out with my base recipe of my sourdough cracker recipe, and then I just started adding nutritional yeast until I found the right amount where it was a delicious cheesy flavor. And that took a couple recipes. Luckily, Ben is always willing to be my test subject. But then otherwise I'll have I'll go down in my basement and say, I've got a lot of freeze-dried peaches. What can I do with that? And then I'll add that to a cookie. And then I'll maybe add walnuts. It's just a matter of what I have on hand and what I feel like trying to make. Or I even have some where people will say, could you make a raisin sourdough bread? I do that a lot. If people have suggestions, like I've had a couple people want something with pumpkin. So that's, now that we're done with summer markets, I'm going to be playing a little bit more in the kitchen with different stuff. So it's just a matter of ideas or suggestions that I go in the kitchen and I just play around.
And I'm going to ask this question of both of you. I'd like to get both your views on it. Why do you think there's a need for this in Calumet County and in agriculture in general? What are the motivating reasons behind it, do you think?
So I think one of the motivating reasons would be demand for your products, right? I mean, anybody that's providing a service or a business, you have to have that in order to sell what you're doing. And we found that we didn't know if this was going to work, in Calumet County. It's this Einkorn Wheat. We discovered it. We love it. We love the flavor. And we came to the conclusion that's like we should provide this for everybody, right? And so we've had a very positive response at our markets, the farmers markets that we've done, also at our pop-up markets on the farm. That was very encouraging. I would say 75% of the people that were there last spring were Chilton, Kiel, and the Holstein area, and we're typically we have a lot of customers coming to the farm that travel. They're coming from Kaukauna, Sheboygan, Plymouth, Appleton area. So that was very encouraging to see the response from our local community. And the other thing that we've realized with doing the farmers markets and just talking with people, a lot of times people will come up to us and you just start a conversation. It might be about the weather, but then you start talking about food and soil health. And people are becoming really aware that soil health affects physical and mental health as well. So that's why we feel there's a need for it. And then also the regenerative ag system that we're practicing, we see that in other counties, and we've went to regenerative ag conferences in other counties, and some of them are other side of the state, but we want to be part of that here, right in Calumet County as well.
So this is a growing movement then?
Yes.
Would you say? Okay. And Sharon, what are your thoughts on that?
I would have to agree with Ben. When we did that pop-up in April, it was amazing to me of how many people that were in our backyard that we didn't know existed that were on the same page. We always figured that that our people were going to be in the bigger cities like Madison, Milwaukee, that they were going to understand what we're trying to do here. And it was just so refreshing to see so many people and talk to so many people that are conscious of the way that they eat, or they're trying to go back to the old traditional way of eating and preparing food. I think that this is just something that Calumet County needs. It's just basic food, good quality that will help you feel better.
Okay. Have you partnered with any other attractions in the area, working with anybody as far as providing them product or anything to be sold at their locations yet?
Not yet. So luckily for us, you did give us some names of people. So we did reach out, or actually they reached out to us, Wolf and Fox Winery. So I'm hoping that we can partner with them somehow. But there's other small businesses in the area. It's just amazing to me what's all in the backyards of all these little businesses that we're all doing it alone. And I think if we did all partner together, that we could really do a nice little loop in Calumet County of rural ag, that people are homesteading at their own place and offering a product that they're making and that they're proud of, that they're using good ingredients, good practices, and it's all right here, and not many people know it. So if we can all partner together, I think it would really be benefit to not only us as producers, but as far as the community goes as well, and the surrounding areas, not just Calumet County.
Would you describe the layout of the commercial kitchen that you're building? I had a good opportunity to go tour their facility just a short time ago. And I was very impressed with where you're at in the process already. And if you could maybe give listeners an idea of what you're working on, what's going to be the finished product, that'd be great.
I'll take that question, even though I'm not doing any of the building. I'm just walking in with my eyes wide open and just big old smile on my face. But every week I go in there, well, probably more times than once a week, but Ben and a friend of ours, Dennis, is doing all the work so far, other than what we've had contracted out. But it's just coming along so nicely. We've got the ceilings in, the ceiling joists, the walls are up. It's just fantastic. I don't know, maybe Ben should take this question because I'm just looking at it through my perspective of so much progress has been made, and it's just unbelievable. But as far as the layout goes, so we're going to have a freeze-drying room that's dedicated just for that. And then we've got our kitchen area where all the baking goodness is going to occur. And then we have a storage area. And then on the other side, a third of the building will be our farm store and an ADA bathroom. So we'll have that. But yeah, it's going along very nicely. The concrete's all in. We've got it plumbed, not hooked up, obviously. And we've got the in-floor heat in, so it should be nice and cozy during the winter months. But yeah, it's exciting.
You want to add anything to her answer, Ben, since she called you out on that one?
Yeah, so she's got the layout of the kitchen. She covered that part of it. But right now I walk in there and I see a lot of 2x6s, and we have everything roughed in. The concrete is completed, and so we're almost to the point where we're finishing one wall today, studding it in. Then we're going to be moving to the outside. We're looking to get the building enclosed before the weather turns, and that'll be huge. If we can make that goal, then we can be working in there all winter long, trying to reach for a goal opening, early next spring in 26.
So once the store is open, what kind of products do you envision on the shelves in the store, and what's going to be available? And how is the product line going to be refreshed daily, if it is going to be refreshed daily?
Sure. So we will have obviously our baked goods, and then we'll have our produce in there as well that we grow and are freeze dried. And then hopefully we will eventually get chickens, where we'll have our eggs in there. And we might have some other vendors come in. I know with the laws and stuff, but we have to have 50% right off the farm. So it doesn't leave us a whole lot of room to bring in other vendors, but we would like to. We know plenty of people with all the markets that we go to that offer a great selection of different items that we'd like to bring in, even if it's a select few.
So you've gone through the business planning process, and you've actually turned a shovel and are going through the construction process as we talk through here. And it sounds like you're hitting all the right marks as far as walking through your business plan and everything. And so what are you doing in the meantime with the construction projected to finish and open in spring? So how are you right now building market opportunities for you, so when you do turn the business on, you're going to have a customer base ready to come through the doors? I mean, what kind of things are you doing, events that you participate in, things like that?
So right now, our summer markets are over, and we're heading into the winter season. So we'll continue our winter markets. That's always face-to-face, talking to people. Word of mouth is very powerful for marketing. Along with that, so we're in Manitowoc at the venue twice a month. And then we're also at Produce with Purpose in Kaukauna, which is a neat little grocery store as well. So along with that, we've started something new. It's called the Sheboygan RICO ring. Now, RICO is a Finnish term that translates to fair consumption, which gives a relationship directly to small producers and farmers. So we're doing that, and that's been very good for us. We're about a month into that. Mm-hmm. And so essentially, people go on Facebook. There's about a dozen farmers and vendors in that ring, and they order weekly on a menu that's posted. And then we drop off at Fleet Farm in Plymouth every Wednesday evening. So that's been an eye-opening alternative to farmers markets.
Can you walk listeners through that experience? First of all, how do I hear about it? Secondly, how do I actually place the order? And then how do I actually pick up my order?
Those are good questions. It's all Facebook-based. If you just did a simple search, either Google or Facebook, for Sheboygan County RICO ring, it'll bring you right to that site. And then you can go to their individual web Facebook pages.
So they can go on Sheboygan County RICO Ring Facebook page, and there you have to join that group and become a member of it, and that will give you access to all of the vendors' menus. So each vendor will have our menu on it, and then in that comment section of that vendor, let's say it's meat and you want to order some pork chops, you would comment in there saying what you wanted to order off of their menu. Then you prepay. A lot of the vendors, we prefer Venmo. Some of them will take credit card, but it has to be prepaid. And then you place it, and on Wednesday at 5:30 to 6 o'clock is pickup at the Plymouth Fleet Farm. And orders do have to be in by Monday night, prior to the pickup. So the menu usually goes out there Thursday, and then ordering stops Monday night, and then pickup on Wednesday. And then we just keep, people will update their menus as far as what they have in stock or what's available to them. And then, it's just working out really well. So on Wednesday, we all line up. We've got our little sign out saying who we are. The customers, they stay in their car and they just drive through the line and they stop at wherever they placed an order, and we bring out their order to them and they go on their way. It has been working out really well. There's a good response. There's a lot of people really interested. I think they have already over 1,000 members that have joined to be customers. So, and I imagine that as it grows, they'll probably be looking for more vendors as well. So yeah, it's been great to be part of that. And then actually, we're joining forces with 3 other vendors. We've got Mama T's Bakery, Golden Bear Farms, and Sunshine and Sass. And us, we're partnering to figure out to do one in Calumet County. So we have everything pretty much in place. The only thing we have to figure out is location of where we can do the pickup at. So we've put our feelers out. We've checked with a couple businesses, got turned down a couple of times, but hopefully that we can find a location that will work, that's off the main drag, so everybody can just swing in on their way home from work and pick up their order and go on their way. But that's we're really excited about that. That's an amazing thing to be part of.
If people are interested in being part of that, how are you going to get the word out? Where should they be kind of paying attention and keeping their ear to the rail, so to speak?
Well, they can follow us on Facebook, and as well as Mama T's Bakery, Golden Bear Farms, and Sunshine and Sass. We'll keep everybody updated on that. Once it is going, I plan on putting posters out at, I'm hoping some businesses, local businesses, will allow us to put flyers up. Otherwise, once we are up and about, we'll certainly let you know, Rick, and then we'll also hopefully contact the newspapers that they'll put a blurb in there about it as well.
So when you're up and operational in the spring of next year or thereafter, what experience? I'm gonna hop in my car from Appleton. I'm gonna drive to New Holstein, and I'm gonna get to your 5 acres. And what am I gonna experience?
Samples, lots and lots of samples. I
Okay.
love samples.
I do too, by the way.
I'm gonna make sure to come to the farm.
All right.
Because it's just so fun to watch everybody's expression. It's like, I'll give them a pickled beet, for example, one, and at first it'll be like, huh, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing. Even like Ben had our neighbor try a tomato that I did. I freeze-dried just a tomato slice, and he was blown away by the flavor of it. It was just so intense, and people don't realize it until you actually try something that's grown fresh, freeze-dried fresh, of how phenomenal that really does taste. And then same thing with the baked goods. It's so delicious that people just really enjoy it. It's just, it's an easy sell. Samples make it an easy sell because it all speaks by the taste buds. So that's pretty much what we will. And then, as we go on with our farm, we'll have animals as well. So then people will hopefully be able to see the chickens or any other animal that we decide to bring on board.
Okay. So people want to learn more about Our Little Farm and plan their own visits in the future. Where would you direct them to go?
We can check our Facebook page at Our Little Farm WI or our website, ourlittlefarmwi.com. And there at the website, we have all of our menu listed with the ingredients. So if anybody is concerned about what kind of items are in our products, they can certainly refer back to that to see if there's any allergies or anything like that. But those 2 locations. I'm
going to ask this question, and it's kind of one last thought, listeners, is, you're unique to the idea of tourism here in Calumet County in that you're starting out, but you haven't really started yet. You're in the process of doing a build-out of what you actually will be using as your magnet to draw people in. And I'm just wondering if you'd be willing to open this project up, this startup of yours, this tourism destination business, to listeners. Would you allow us, as you go along, to kind of check in with you every few months to just see where it's at and maybe do some more podcasts, kind of talking about the process? Would that be something
Sure.
you'd be interested in doing?
Sure.
Because I think listeners might find that interesting to kind of hear firsthand, and hopefully there's other listeners out there thinking, hey, I'm thinking of starting a tourism venue too, and maybe they can learn from what you're learning along the way, so to speak.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, right?
Yes.
If you know what you're getting into and somebody has kind of paved the way, we're more than happy to share our journey with anybody.
All right, listeners. So now you've heard that. You've heard that. So mark your calendars for. We'll probably try to get out there a couple times at least before they open in the spring of next year. Once maybe the construction project is done, that'll be one excuse for us to come on out and kind of get a tour firsthand And certainly, whenever samples are available, that might be another excuse to come out. No, I think that'd be exciting to see that. So it's a great opportunity, and then you kind of hopefully have listeners also out there being able to spread the word for you before you even open the door. So
Absolutely.
Awesome. I really appreciate you guys' willingness to do that. So you want to add anything else before we end the discussion today?
If I could, Rick. So
Yeah.
on November 8th, we're hosting an event at our little farm. It's a little pop-up market. There's going to be about 6 vendors total. We have got Kelly, the traveling sharpener. She will sharpen any knives or garden tools that you need. She does a fantastic job. We're going to have Monique from Ledgecrest Family Farm. There she's got meat, the beef, pork, chicken. It's all, the animals are all grown on regenerative acres. She also has eggs and honey. And then we'll have Jess from Sunshine and Sass. She does elderberry kits and other medicinal remedies. And then we've got Laura from Huntress Honey. She does a great job of infusing mushrooms into honey. I've tasted her stuff, and the one that I've tasted like caramel. It is just delicious and something so unique. We're also going to have Lisa from Lisa's Dragonfly. She is out of the Plymouth area. She's got a great following on her fruit pies and her festive sourdough breads and some canned goods she'll have left over. Oh, and also they have this one great tomato juice. If you love tomato juice, her husband Sam makes a great one. And then we'll also have Emily from Happy Homestead Memories. She does extracts of like vanilla and strawberry, just a great variety of that. And she does some teas. And then, of course, we'll be there as well. So that's going to be November 8th, 9 o'clock in the morning until noon at our little farm in New Holstein.
And what's the address?
It's W371 Danes Road, so we're on a dead-end road. Last place you'll see it, our little white house with the barn and our machine shop. But yeah, and then everybody can get a sneak peek at our kitchen as well. They can check out what we've got going on up close and personal.
Exciting. Looking forward to seeing that. It sounds like a fun day and a fun event. And great opportunity for folks to get out and kind of taste what their neighbors are making right around them.
Exactly. And samples. We'll
And
have samples.
and samples, folks. Samples are always a great sell. So, all right. Thank you, Ben and Sharon Henke from Our Little Farm, for joining me on episode 64 of the Travel Calumet Original Podcast. Ben and Sharon, much success to you as you continue the process and complete the construction of your facility. And I look forward to our check-ins that we're going to be having as you guys go forward. And listeners, thank you for tuning in to episode 64 of the Travel Calumet Original Podcast. Please make sure you check out the other 63 episodes by scrolling down the homepage and clicking on the microphone at travelcalumet.com, or by finding us on your favorite podcatcher or podcast app. And if you liked what you heard today or previous episodes, please invite your friends to listen to the Travel Calumet Original Podcast. Help us share the news of all the great things to see and do here in Calumet County, like Our Little Farm, coming soon to Holstein. Thank you for listening, and until next time.